Hey, what's going on, everybody? Prince here, giving you the weekly update on the Umbrel node Raspberry Pi project. I'm going to be building another node, and I thought it would be a great opportunity for me to record it this time, to the best of my ability. So bear with me. For those of you who are curious and are interested in this project, you can visit getumbrel.com and check out the website. It gives you a little details as to like what's in here, like what is it, what the Umbrel node project is all about. But essentially it's a personal server for you. All right. You can buy an Umbrel server by clicking this link at getumbrel.com or build your own. So today, again, we're going to be building our own. And for those of you who are interested, it gives you the details as to the ingredients to baking your Raspberry Pi 4. All right, you're gonna need a Raspberry Pi 4, 1 terabyte solid state drive, with an enclosure, 16 gigabyte micro SD card to download the Umbrel operating system. And of course, the solid state drive is gonna be there to download the blockchain. And you're gonna need the power supply that should come with the Raspberry Pi kit if you get the essential kit, and an Ethernet cable along with a case. So I'm going to show you what I have here, and we're going to get started building this here Raspberry Pi project. So here's my work desk, and yeah, it's a little bit of a mess, but just mind your business. That's all. Just mind your business. All right. So what we got the essential Raspberry Pi 4 kit. Essential. We got this 1 terabyte solid state drive, the acrylic stackable Raspberry Pi case with the fan and heat sinks. This is what we're going to be opting for instead of the case that comes with the Raspberry Pi 4, and we're going to be downloading and loading the Umbrel operating system onto the 16 gigabyte micro SD card. All right, so let's get into some unboxing. All right, so let's open up this Raspberry Pi 4 essential kit. Comes in a nice little box. This, the Raspberry Pi official USB-C charging kit. Here is our Raspberry Pi 4 USB-C power cable, 2 micro HDMI cables, an earphone jack for audio output, 2 different types of USB ports, and an Ethernet port. All right. And of course, this is the official Raspberry Pi 4 case. But as you see, it has no room for what we're going to be adding to this, which is the fan. So we're gonna add that fan in just a second. All right, let's keep digging into this box, see what else is here. I'm not gonna close that entirely because we're coming back. Here is the official Raspberry Pi operating system, complete with the new out-of-the-box Raspbian image. All right, but we're not going to be using that today. We're going to be downloading on a fresh operating system or a fresh SD card, the Umbrel OS operating system. All right, here is the HDMI cable for the Raspberry Pi 4. You're going to be using one of the HDMI, micro HDMI ports for this, micro HDMI to micro HDMI. And then of course you'll plug the standard side of the HDMI cable into your monitor. All right, and yes, for this project, you're only going to need the this cable one time, and essentially it's going to be a headless setup, meaning you're never going to need a monitor other than your laptop in the future. All right, so we'll put that right there. And here is the official Raspberry Pi booklet, beginner's guide, how to use your new computer. If you want to use the Raspbian image that comes pre-installed on this noob's as micro SD card, this is a great time to play around with that. Otherwise, you're going to need a new Raspberry Pi 4 in order to use this operating system and, you know, take advantage of some of the fun Raspberry Pi projects in here. You can see I have a Pi Zero W. Actually, I have two Pi Zero Ws. So like, stay tuned for the projects that are coming out with, that I'm going to be using for that. And yeah, let's get into some more of the build. Now, before I get into downloading the operating system, like, I did this build earlier this week, and it was kind of a pain in the butt putting the heat fan, the fan onto the Raspberry Pi 4. So we did some engineering. You know, me and a family member, we did some engineering to this project, and what we did on this project required us doing some surgery on the top of this Raspberry Pi 4 case, simply so that way we could create some space and some room for the fan. All right, because the fan's going to go right over here, which is essentially right here. And yeah, with the heat sinks that go in these locations, which I'm going to put on just in a moment, you're going to see that you're not going to have any space to do that. So let's go ahead and get into the building of the acrylic case. All right, so let me set some of these things aside, and let's go ahead and open up the acrylic case. All right. Where I'm not going to subject you to all this unboxing, but let's get to the nitty gritty. And you're going to see why I opt for for this case in a moment, because it's just a lot easier to do this case than it is to, you know, do the mechanical engineering to the top of this case. All right, it's just, hey, maybe you might want to do that. Maybe it's fun for you, but yeah, we're going to keep this project as easy as possible. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add these heat sinks, and we're going to prepare some of these standoffs. But before we even do that, let's take a look at some of these instructions, because trust me, reading these instructions will help. So those of you who are not, you know, buying your Umbrel node and you're going to build it, trust me when I say read these instructions. You're going to be glad that you do. All right. If you don't, you're going to be pretty upset that you didn't. All right, because just not fun. Take my word for it. So let's get into this. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and take the plastic film off of the acrylic case. We're going to keep that plastic there, and let's go ahead and see about taking some of this film off of this. All right. I'm not going to subject you to this, so I'll be right back once I get it off. I got it started, and here I am tearing off one layer of the acrylic sealant protectant. It's got a nice clear finish to that. I think it's going to look kind of cute, sexy, whatever word you want to use, you know, masculine or feminine, but I'll be right back. Huzzah, we got the second layer off. So that's actually really attractive. I like that. I'm gonna try not to scuff this up with my fingerprints. I'll be back. And now we've got the film off of the bottom portion. Well, the bottom portion of the acrylic case. The acrylic film off the top portion of the acrylic case. And yeah, they look pretty good. So, you know, let's keep it moving. Next part, we're going to add these spacers to these screws onto this case, and we'll be back after that's done. For the next part, we're going to go ahead and fasten the Raspberry Pi board now to the acrylic case. So stay tuned. Actually, why stay tuned? Just keep watching. I hope I got some music playing on in this edited video so that way you're not entirely bored just watching me put all this together. But, you know, for those of you who might be more interested and curious about what goes on with this Raspberry Pi, you know, it is a micro computer. And so you can, you know, download gaming systems, you know, you can download different cybersecurity systems, you can download walkie-talkies. I mean, there's, you know, you could do programming, you could do music production. There's so much that you could do with these microcomputers. So, you know, definitely feel free to explore more about the Raspberry Pi project, not just for what I'm doing, but, you know, on your own too. And now that we have those silver screws in, let's go ahead and add these heat sinks. So that way, you know, for this particular project, this little microcomputer gets extremely hot. All right, it can hit temperatures over 70 degrees. And I'm going to be installing that fan on there, but before we install the fan, we're going to install these heat sinks, and these heat sinks are going to help draw some of the heat off of the Raspberry Pi and away from it. All right, that way the Pi does not slow down. If it hits temperatures exceeding 70 degrees, it's going to slow down. And for this Umbrel node, we don't want it to slow down. We're basically trying to help speed up some of the transactions that occur on a blockchain. And if you're running slow, you know, do you like it when your transactions are running slow? I don't think so. So let me go ahead and get these, let me spare you the torture of watching me try to peel this little piece of plastic off and get these heat sinks on, all right? Because we got some of the plastic off, plastic film. It's got this thermo adhesive that goes on the back of that. I'm going to go ahead and just place that right there. So there's one. Here comes number two. And be careful about this, because once that adhesive comes into contact with these things, it is on there. It is on there. So here's number two. Let's get number three on there. And there's number three. So, and there you have it. You know, 3 heat sinks on there. Let's go ahead and not stop the hustle. Let's keep it going. Next comes the fan to help keep this puppy cool, this Raspberry Pi cool. You know, we don't want it to overheat again while it's baking. So your fan, if you get the acrylic case, may come with a little piece of tape. So word of advice, like, be sure to take this thing off. Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting there wondering, why is it not working? Well, did you take the tape off? Let's go ahead and get this fastened on, and we'll be back. And there we go. Now we have the fan onto the top portion of the acrylic case. And let's just make sure that we got this thing in the right direction, right? Oh, I gotta flip it. I gotta flip it. That's supposed to be on the other side. All right, let's fix this. All right, so now we got it back. We got it the way it's supposed to be. Ready to be attached to the next set of standoffs. So stay tuned. Well, we've got the next set of standoffs on. Let's go ahead and get to the next part, which is installing the top part, which should be simple enough to just do this. And let's add the bolts on top of it. Yep. Fun, easy, simple project. from beginning to end, you know, if you read through that booklet with the Raspberry Pi, you know, and the different projects that you can do, you know, from, you know, building your own Umbrel node to your own microcontroller laptop, you know, to replace almost your desktop. It's not going to move at the speeds as your desktop, but it'll certainly do a lot of those office basic programs that you're doing on your regular laptop. All right, so if ever you need to a cheap laptop solution alternative, something in a quick pinch, this is definitely the way to do it. And there we have the acrylic top portion screwed in, attached to the standoffs, everything nice and secure. What we're going to do now is just secure the ground wire to the first row of GPIO pins. The third one, which is, if I'm not mistaken, 6, and the red one, oh, I got them in the wrong position. We're gonna put the red one on 4 and the black one on 6. All right. Red is the hot wire, black is the ground wire. You know, let me go ahead and fix these up a little bit nicer so that way they're not all in the way. So just bring these around, keep them nice and neat, like so. And black on 6, red on 4 on a GPIO pin. Boop. And there is your Raspberry Pi acrylic case with the heat sinks and the fan already installed. Again, just so you can get a closer view of that, you know, black on 6, red on 4 with the second row of GPIO pins. I'm sorry, I know the visual could be a little bit better, but you know, working on budgets. So let's go ahead and get some power running to this, and then just to test and make sure that the fan is working properly. So I'm gonna connect the SD cards that I have around with a Raspbian image on it, and just to power it up, and just to give it some juice, and just make sure that the fan is installed properly. So I'm going to connect my phone USB-C charger. I'm not even going to install an SD card to this. I'm just going to run it without it. Just going to give it some juice and just see what happens. And we just want to, of course, see these fans kick on. We give it some power, and those fans are running. They are moving, baby. They are moving. Keeping it, already starting to keep it cool. Of course, this type of acrylic case, make sure that there's a lot of air moving through the case. So like this type of unit should never overheat. But of course, like if you're ever interested in the enclosed, you know, engineered version, definitely let me know. I'll show you how to put a little ventilation hole here on the top of this Raspberry Pi case, so that way we can install the fan. So let's go ahead and get to the operating system. So before we get to installing the 1 terabyte, again, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and load the operating system of Umbrel OS onto the micro SD card. So here's where we're gonna go ahead and load that puppy on into the adapter, plug that into the laptop, and yeah, let's go ahead and get that operating system up and going. So here we are at getumbrel.com. You can go there, you know, check out the web page. You know, you go on the home page, it'll give you all the information that you're looking for, as far as, you know, some frequently asked questions, the Umbrel community, which is accessible on Telegram. If you're on Reddit, if you're on Twitter, if you got a GitHub, you can contact them, you know, and the community is pretty good about like being responsive and helping everybody get the answers that they need. All right. So if you want to buy an Umbrel server, they have it pre-built. If you're doing it like I am, you're a DIYer, you know, you're going to be building your own. So let's go back down here and check out the ingredients to bake this Raspberry Pi. So we have our Pi 4 with the acrylic case. You know, took us a little minute to get that up and running, but we got it up and running. Next thing what we're going to do is we got the 1 terabyte solid state drive right here. We already got the enclosure that comes with this here puppy. And for those of you who are wondering about this, I like the MTech. Small, is compact, it's fast, does the job, nothing crazy. Take it out of the box, nice. You set that aside for the sec, and all we got to do next is plug it in there, and of course connect blue to blue. Let's make sure that we plug it in properly. Oh, I had it right the first time. Did I? I did not. Blue to blue. Come on now. Come on now, baby. There it is. Just takes a little, gotta give it a little rough love getting it in there, you know, but be gentle with it. All right. And now that we got that ready, we just need to get this operating system on. So we got the enclosure already built onto the 1 terabyte solid state drive. I like MTech. This is not an affiliate video, so I'm not getting any compensation off this. At least not yet. Maybe in the future. Who knows? Check for links in the description, just in case. All right. The 16 gigabyte micro SD card is already inserted. And what we're going to be doing is let's go ahead and get this thing going. We're going to connect an Ethernet cable to this at the end. All right. So we got all our ingredients. Let's go ahead and download a fresh image. I have this already, but I'm going to download the latest version of it today, just because like in my mind somewhere, like I feel like if I am constantly using the operating system that I have already like pre-downloaded, then when a person like uploads the blockchain, it's gonna for some reason just register as my information, and I don't want that to happen. So I think it's always a good idea, like when you're creating a new one for someone new, like download the new operating system and just flash it. All right. So while this is taking time to download, let me go ahead and pull up Etcher. So now Etcher is an image burner. All right. You're gonna, once the Umbrel OS finishes the downloading process, we're going to select that operating system image, and then we're gonna load it onto the SD card. All right, and we're gonna flash that. So in the meantime, let me go ahead and let's format the SD card just to be on the safe side. So having pulled up the SD card on my laptop, I'm going to right click and format this SD card. It's supposed to be 16 gigs, but we see 14.8. We're going to go ahead and do a quick format. It's going to tell us that it's going to erase all data on the disk. To format, click OK. We're going to click OK. Format is complete. We're all done. Let's get ready to load this image up. Is it ready? It looks like it's ready. Select the image. It's going to take us to the most recent downloads. You see, I did it last week. We're going to take today's. Same version, doesn't matter. Open it. It's already on the SD card that we wanted to, and we're going to go ahead and flash to start the process. Yes, indeed. All right, so we're going to, while it's flashing and downloading the operating system and burning the image onto the micro SD card, this is going to take quite a bit of time, so I will be back when it finishes with the download. All right, it is approximately 8:50 right now my time. We'll see what it looks like, how long it takes to flash in this image. Be back in a minute. Here we are at 8:58 and we're done flashing. Now we're just validating the image. So we'll be back in a few more minutes just to get the rest of this done. Alrighty then. So now we are all done with the flashing, and yes, my etcher image burner is out of date. So yeah, we're gonna worry about that another time. Okay. In any case, stay tuned. Let me go ahead and eject this thing and just get this into the pie. So simply taking it out and inserting the SD card into the SD slot underneath. What we're going to do next is we're going to prep this thing for power and viewing it on the HDMI screen. So stay tuned, because this is where it gets really, really interesting. This is where all the magic happens. Right here. Stay tuned. So before I get into the, powering this puppy on, I just wanted to show you, this is basically the build setup. Again, the Raspberry Pi with the acrylic case. I plugged in the micro HDMI cord to a monitor. You'll see that monitor in a second, because I'm going to pull up what pulls up when we start powering on this puppy. All right, I am going to give this thing some juice, baby juice, and we're going to see what happens. All right. Now, just for those of you who may be following along with what's on the website, let's also look at, we downloaded the etcher. Of course, mine is out of date now, but hey, flashed the image, plugged it into my computer, burned it, flashed it, inserted it into the Pi, and here we are, already connected to the SSD state, the solid state drive, the 1 terabyte. All right. And the next step says connect to the router. We have the Ethernet cable connected here. All right. Which is the safest connection that you can get. This is going through a long wire to some power, to the power, well, the router, excuse me. And